Hello, and on the gaming table today, we're taking a look at the other Danubia, game number 2. So this is Kim's version of the Danubia campaign set in the early 1600s using the Twilight of Divine Right rules. And so today we played this game out. You can see here the situation that Kim had provided us with the Ruritainians being attacked by the treacherous Transylvanians. And so this was the scenario, this was the story that we were using, and here's the map of the table and the entry points. So based on the last game, where some armies had broken quite quickly, what Kim had decided to do today was to provide 3 forces, each of 2 commands, and then that gave a lot of wings on the table, as it were. So a bit harder to break the overall army, but easier to break the smaller individual wings of that army. So here you can see the table as we're just starting to get set up here. This is replicating where the defending forces are. There's a ridge line that runs kind of through the center of the table here. The defenders are going to set up on the left on the ridge line. The attackers are already set up on the right. So let's go and see how the action went. So here's the view from my vantage point. I'm controlling the defenders on the left half of the battlefield, as it were, and we were to deploy on the right, or above in this image, the river that you can see running through here. That was supposed to protect our flank a little bit, but Chris, who was opposite me, had kind of figured out in the rules that I think the river wasn't really that much of an impediment if you knew what you were doing, and so he charged a lot of cavalry across the first part of the river and then around into my flank. And so I was trying to move a couple of troops to protect against that flanking move while just keeping an eye on things that were going on in front of me with some assaulting infantry. On the right flank of the defensive line, you can see there that there's some infantry and a lot less cavalry going against a line of troops that are defending the gap between 2 woods over there. One of those units is one of my tertios and the rest is Kim's command. And so there was a lot less action going on over there, but forces would get engaged a little bit later. It was pretty obvious, though, that the main effort was happening on the defenders' left flank. Initially, for the defenders, things seemed to be going reasonably okay. The second part of the river crossing was delaying the cavalry that was coming around, allowing the defenders to get deployed, and the assaulting infantry going up towards the monastery here wasn't having an easy time of it, so they were taking their time to get up there. And over on the right flank, things were pretty stable, taking a while for the infantry to get engaged. But then the first lot of attacking reinforcements arrived, and a huge column of flying horse, light horse, dragoons, and a bunch of other things came charging down the road to join in on the fight. And so in this situation, with a lot of pressure being put on the monastery up here and the troops in there starting to get surrounded, as well as lots of pressure going on the riverside, Chris, the cunning tactician, noticed the gap and sent his dragoons flying through in column into this gap in the defenders' lines and deployed them out here to start causing some havoc. At the same time, the defenders in the monastery gave way and routed, and so that left a big hole in the defenders' lines here. The tertio near the river was getting surrounded and the cavalry was starting to get a little bit beaten up. And so it was at this stage that the left flank started to fall for the defenders. In kind of the center of the field, my tertio that was more towards the right also routed, the dice gods deserting me one more time, and so they were left as casualties and Kim's infantry had to run in to fill the gap. So at this stage, overall, the battle not going well for the defenders, getting pretty beaten up on the left. The tertio will eventually die near the river there, and that will leave a big hole in the lines. For the defenders, we did have some reinforcements coming on, so some welcome infantry and cavalry to try and bolster the left and block the advance of the Transylvanians here. We did have a little bit of success against the dragoons behind the tertio, managed to take them out, but then that cavalry also had to fall back under pressure, and then eventually the tertio finally gave way, and so that created a big hole on the left. The tertio at the top of the hill that had been holding out as well held a little bit longer until it succumbed to fire as well, and so then towards the end of the game here, or at least my part of the game, my general had been killed, the main general. I'd lost basically all of my infantry. It had all been killed off the field. It hadn't had a chance to rout as a commander. It had all just died. And most of my cavalry was pretty beaten up as well. It was really the reserves just trying to plug the gaps. At this stage, I had to depart and catch a ferry, which was kind of apt because as a general, I was dead on the table anyway. And so Kim and the others kept playing this one out. There were still a few turns to go of daylight before darkness would fall and the defenders here would be able to fall back if they were still surviving. I'm sure I'll get a report about how that ended up later. But yeah, another good experience of having a go with Twilight of the Divine Right. It gives me more experience with the rules. I'm learning a bit more about it as I go, and you learn by doing, right? Sometimes things don't go your way. That's okay. It's just the way war games are. We have a lot of fun playing together. Anyway, I hope you found that a little bit interesting. Hopefully we'll see more of this other Danubia campaign soon. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.